'Cause like a winter tonight, I thought I would always have light. The quick flash that you gave to me, so dark I could barely see. Looking
From wherever you are around the world, welcome and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be exploring the psychology of millennial parents. Well, kind of. We're going to look at a web TV show that was produced by Greene and Natalie Irby. They were the ones who created Millennial Parents. It's a comedy about overwhelmed new parents in the midst of a millennial identity crisis. They can't accept that they aren't as cool and worldly as they were before they had kids, and they can't seem to agree on what their family brand should be. Greene and Natalie Irby are the creative team behind the award-winning web series Millennial Parents, which you can find on millennialparents.com, which has been featured in USA Today, The Huffington Post, and was named one of the top 10 web series of 2014 by LA Weekly. Let's welcome to the circle Greene and Natalie Irby. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Whew, almost lost 10 pounds, I think, just reading that. All right. So, guys, first thing first, what got you started on doing this?
Well, this being web series or the web series about millennial parents?
Good question. This series.
This series. So
yes.
Natalie and I have both been working in digital content and also film and television for the last few years, and we've collaborated on a couple of different projects. And Millennial Parents came out of some inspiration that I had as a new parent, and sort of I'm one of the oldest ends of the millennials. And as we were talking about what it's like to raise kids when you're part of a generation who has really prided themselves on being unique individuals, different from everybody else and very cool in their own unique way, it seemed to run counter to what people do when they have kids, which is you become inherently less cool and connected. But there's just this different pressure for the social media generation to stay involved in hip and unique, and we thought there'd be a lot of fun, awkwardness, and unintentional comedy, and we were seeing it amongst our friends, and I was certainly catching myself doing it. There's a fine line between cool older brother and creepy uncle, and you don't recognize when you cross it until it's way too late.
We're going to get more into that in a minute. Here's a clip of the show, Millennial Parents. Take a look at this. This is one of the splicing parts. Mm-hmm. Was that great or what? All right, let's ask Natalie Irby here. Now, you came from the world of film.
Yes, sir.
So what was the difference between that and a web series?
Well, being able to create something, short form, digestible content that people can watch in short periods of time was really exciting for me. And to be able to utilize the web platform, which is where people consume so much, of the content today. And so it was really exciting for me to be able to create something that people would watch immediately.
Let me ask you this. Did you notice a difference in the audience compared to film? Did you see kind of behavior changes there?
I would say that the audience is more easily accessible.
Oh, interesting.
With this web series and web content.
And do they hang around longer? Or are they in and out? Like they watch the show, I'm out of here in 10 minutes.
Well, 10 minutes when you start by launching 5 episodes. But what we found out, because all of our episodes are 2 minutes and now we've got 26 of them. But we one of the fun things, and when you're doing traditional television or you're making feature-length films, you're making a lot of choices for your characters that you then stick with over the course of 90 minutes and you never see those characters again. And so one of the things that we've been able to do with Kurt and Annie, who are our primary characters in Millennial Parents, is develop them out over time as we've seen how they've sort of grown and interacted with other characters. Because really these 2-minute digestible vignettes, it's almost like they're replacing that space where comics in the Sunday paper were, right? The idea is you get something that's quick, that you relate to, that you want to share with someone else, that you think it's funny, and we really see our show, Millennial Parents, sort of filling that space online, especially for people who have who are around parents or have been parents regardless of whether they're millennials or not.
Actually, that's true. I like that concept. And comparing it to the the newspaper comics, that's a good idea. Little brief, tiny snippets of it. So, you talked about what millennial parents were like. You talked a little bit about your stories. Do you have any of your actual stories in the vignettes?
So I'm going to plead the fifth on some of that. I'll tell you that there are a number of episodes that are we'll say loosely inspired by things.
Inspired,
Loosely
yeah.
inspired.
You know, and there are a lot of issues that are sort of that I see as pet issues or opinions that are definitely my opinions. For example, I have a real problem with the idea of man caves. It seems like everyone is all excited about.
As a pro or con?
I don't like man caves. I feel like the idea is if you're claiming a man cave, it sort of suggests that you have an adult playroom and you don't own the rest of your house. It's very, I see it as sort of like a divisive. It's almost and Kurt, who's our one half of our lead couple, he sort of takes it a step beyond, where he feels like if the word man cave means you've been neutered. And we talk about, Natalie and I had some funny conversations about the idea of these parents who take the idea of fake baby romance way too far, sort of baby boyfriend girlfriend, where they your best friend will have a daughter and you have a son and you're like, oh look, they're married and let's get them t-shirts, and we make fun of that a little bit. We touch a lot on the question, is it more important to have a good time or to have pictures that suggest you had a great time? Which it seems like a lot of people now are taking trips and day trips and outings for the Facebook pictures and not for the experiences themselves.
Absolutely, and that's for parents and non-parents alike.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to go to Tibet and then with 3-day weekend and do your little trip out there, yeah.
Right, and then you have to make sure that when you're in Tibet, you get one of these pictures so that you know.
A selfie with the
You're having
Dalai
a
Lama.
wonderful time. Life is wonderful.
And Natalie brings up a good point, which is that these are issues that are generational issues regardless of whether someone's a parent or not a parent. It's just the for our characters, they're forced to deal and discuss some of these issues because they're trying to build this family together.
It's interesting. Actually, as a psychologist in my head, I'm already seeing an interesting study to look at Facebook family pictures and see the ones, compare the ones that maybe have gotten divorced. See if all their pictures have been happy ones.
Right.
With a false appearance there. It'd be kind of interesting.
Well, you could look at it. You know that everybody's lying a little bit, right? Whether they throw on a filter,
Yeah,
and
they
you
all
know it was raining that day. Or that like 8 kids had measles at Disneyland that day, and here they are, just the happiest model. They're like from the Kmart catalog on the boxes like this.
I don't know. I never look at it the same now. Now, you made an interesting comment off camera. You talked a little bit about the news. And you had a really unique perspective about the news and our kids. What was going on there?
Well, one of the things that I realized, and I think like a lot of people who consume most of their news online now, I have a series of sites that I check daily, and I realized shortly after I had kids that every one of the headlines at some point or in some way will threaten to kill my children. It's crazy fear tactics, whether it's macaroni and cheese being recalled, or it's about terrorist plots, or it's about super flu outbreaks or water shortages or whatever it is. It's this constant doomsday scenario, some of which threatens kidnapping, immediate harm for the kids, but other of which it's sort of like, well, at some point it's going to get your family. And I just became, it just turned me off to such a degree that I took a break from internet news, but then I tried to pretend like I hadn't. So I would be in conversations where I was trying to fake it.
Quoting headlines.
Yeah, trying to sort of lip sync my way through news conversations, and it just ended disastrously.
Let me ask you this question. Millennial parents, do you find it to be, I can't say universal because we haven't crossed the countries, but national? Because neither one of you are from California, correct?
Right.
Yeah, we cover a lot of ground.
We do.
Yeah.
I'm from the southern United States.
The South, right?
Mississippi.
Yeah, and I'm from Minnesota, so I'm the other end, and we now live out here. And
Did you find that same behavior like there? Did you see the parents trying to be cool, or
Yes.
was it Minnesota cool compared to California cool? What's going on
That's
here?
an interesting question.
I mean, I think everybody is trying to be cool. You have a lot more. I think it's less regional because your networks stretch out over such a larger part of the country. Or the world. I mean, it's not a situation anymore where you just run into people who are out of state at high school reunions. It's sort of a constant high school reunion, of course, where everybody is printing their branded feed. I mean, they're wanting you to sort of consume the narrative that they're trying desperately to curate correctly online. But
Very fascinating. So we talked about a little bit about you when you became a parent. And you have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old.
3-year-old and 1-year-old, yeah.
So do you still find yourself cool?
I don't. I think
It's gone and out the window now?
No, and yeah, I mean, there's some areas where you would like to be cool and like to think that it's less a question of am I cool more than me convincing myself, well, if I did these 3 things, I could be back in the game. That's I think there are a lot of people who try harder to be cool than I do, but I definitely, my mentality, which is I think similar to the character of Kurt, is if I don't understand it, I assume that it's cool and I should try to understand it. And I think a lot of people will say if they don't understand it, it's got to be stupid and not as cool. Like I will not adopt the attitude that when I was growing up, the music was best and the movies were best. I don't buy into that. And we actually cover that in a Millennial Parents episode. Right. I actually think that our generation got sort of housed when it comes to the music that was popular when we were in high school and college, because it was all jam bands and boy bands, which are,
that's right.
Now there's all this amazing dance music for young people, and I'm super jealous that they're able to go have these parties, whereas I was stuck in these 8-minute Fish songs. And
Fish songs?
No one can really have fun with that happening.
It's a Fish song.
Fish was like the big jam band at the turn of the century, and no 2 songs were the same. There was no sing-along chorus.
He does not mean to upset the Fish fans.
That's right.
Or the Grateful Dead fans. Please forgive him.
Hi.
Welcome to Adelante. This is Adelante Recovery, and my name is Yvette Kuglin, and I'm part of the staff.
Adelante Recovery Center has helped people in dual diagnosis for 5 years. We accept most PPO insurances and provide luxury accommodations and 24-hour support. To speak with an admissions counselor, call 1-888-242-4450.
A lot of time we don't even know what's wrong with us, and sometimes we need to get away to figure that out. So if you want to go for a little retreat out in Corona Del Mar, which is a confidential location, we're here to help. So we're only a phone call away. Thank you.
Now you have a different perspective because you're not married.
No,
and no children, correct?
Single, no children.
So what kind of perspective did you bring in from perspective of other people that are? What are some of the things that stood out for you as you looked at other millennial parents and you said, well, thank God I'm not one of those?
I will say
no name.
It was a very interesting experience to kind of step into that life through these vignettes and these characters and really explore their experience. And I think, I have nephews and I have friends with kids, and so I've watched it from the outside, but being able to kind of step into the inside and into their world was really fascinating for me. And it was either, I don't know if it was encouragement to have kids or a warning against.
I was getting ready to ask.
The verdict is, the jury's still out on that one.
Creative contraception.
Contraception. Yes. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, one of the great things is, and one of the reasons we wanted to collaborate was because Natalie didn't have kids and could be a filter for it. Is this really funny, or is this just funny for people who are in that exact situation? And we also brought in, we had a couple episodes where Kurt and Annie are interacting with their single friends, and just everything they say is sort of a bigger turnoff if you're not immediately dialed in, because you get so focused when you're raising kids. It's so consuming that a lot of people have a hard time talking about anything else.
Can you stop talking about kids?
Yeah, and what's the problem is when you can't stop talking about kids, but you still think that you're cool, and you want everyone to think that you're cool. It just you're a disaster in every conversation that you enter.
I think my 5-year-old ended that for me. Yes, and the coolness is gone. Do you think you're still cool?
I think I'm
Natalie is still cool.
You're not a millennial parent here.
I mean, I think, I'm not as cool as I used to be in my younger years.
Natalie's cool.
Natalie's cool. All
Yeah.
right.
You know, I'm not as much fun. I'm more of a homebody, and Jake thinks I'm cool because he's a dad. And
Yeah, that may be a reflection of how uncool I am. If you're
if I'm cool.
Natalie's up to date on the art scene. She's
That's cool.
she's
That's cool.
She's in it. Natalie is on trend.
And now I'm really feeling self-conscious. But all right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Jake. Do you feel like you're a better parent because of the show? Because now you see yourself and you see other things, and you kind of can project your feelings. And
Yeah, I don't know that I'm a better parent. I mean, I think my goal as a parent is for my kids to be happy, and I don't think that I'm not a system parent. I think there are a lot of, there's a lot of, and we touch on this in Millennial Parents too. There's a lot of parents who treat parenting kind of like when they go to Vegas. It's this like you have a system for winning, right?
Oh yes.
And it's not good. Like the odds are what they are, and you can be smart and disciplined, or you can try to buy into your crazy system and beat the house. I don't think that I'm gonna beat the house. I'm gonna try to raise happy kids, and sort of do the best I can at that. And hopefully this series will, help prevent me from making some overtly stupid parenting decisions. I am of the camp that if you post seemingly innocent pictures of your children in the bathtub as toddlers, someday your kids are going to be in middle school and they're not going to want those pictures out around,
This Facebook generation is going to be quite interesting in the next 10 or 15 years.
There was a phenomenal article in The Onion talking about how every potential presidential candidate for 2050 will be disqualified by their social media profiles.
That's absolutely true. So now, are you guys surprised by the success of the show? Because you guys had
I was pleasantly
several 100,000
surprised.
viewers, right?
Yeah, I was certainly surprised. I was I'm surprised by the level of engagement we've received messages through our website and on our YouTube channel from people all over the world who have been. One of the most gratifying things was people who are immediately identifying the lead characters as people in their lives.
Oh, wow.
Either them or they're posting and saying, this is so you, Cynthia, or whatever.
Yeah, and I think, as far as a specific demographic that you think would watch the show, finding out that people outside of that, related to it and loved it and were drawn to it. And that was really a really awesome discovery.
That's interesting. 'Cause my earlier comment may be wrong. This it may be universal.
Yeah, cross-generational and
Well, I think it's if you're going through sort of the social media identity peer pressures, which I think everybody is, regardless if you're 8 or 80, there are things that you can relate to in the show. And if you're someone who's ever been a parent or had parents, there are certainly some things that you can relate to. So we want to, we view it as sort of like a mini sitcom, one of those great universal sitcoms from the 80s or 90s, where it's a family sitcom and people enjoy watching it, even if they're not the crazy grandmother or the.
I can definitely see it getting picked up.
Well, we're excited to make more. We're excited to make more, whether it's small screen or bigger platform.
Is that a hint? I don't know. Let me ask you this: your parents cool?
I would say my parents are cool. I would.
I had great parents. I would not. I don't know that I would want their adjective to be cool. I think when you're a kid, I think part of being cool is feeling like, you're cooler than the people who are around you. And again, the fact that I was never really creeped out by my parents, I think is a better thing than me thinking my parents were rock star cool when I was a kid.
It's like you felt safe and things felt safe and stable.
They were wonderful and fun. Yeah. I had fun parents, which I think I valued more than if I had cool parents.
I'm trying to think. I don't think my parents even cared about being cool.
Well, we do a whole episode about that, because the idea that parents are trying to be cool
must be novel.
Well, I think it's kind of new. It used to be that people would just check out of pop culture for 10, 20 years. I mean, my parents didn't go to a movie in the 80s. You black out. You just miss that decade. And they were doing that because they were just focused on being great parents and raising kids.
So did they ever come back, though? Because my parents never really came back. I mean, it just kind of just stayed out of the loop. Yeah. And then the shoes, I mean, it was like, what kind of shoes are these? They're just functional.
Right.
No, my parents were cool. Now, after listening to y'all, I'm like, I win.
Well, that's why Natalie's still cool.
That's right. It's in the genes.
I'm a sweatpants unless I'm in meetings type guy.
We appreciate you dressing up for us.
I'm wearing sweatpants right now. You just can't see them. The audience can't see them on camera.
So what's the future for Millennial Parents? Where is this going? I know you can't say much. What can you say?
We've got a lot of stuff queued up for season 3, and whether that comes out the same way that seasons 1 and 2 did, or whether there are some slight adjustments in different partners. One of the things that's been fun about the show is from season 1 to season 2, because of the success of season 1, we had access to some tremendous talent for season 2 and guest spots, and we sort of were able to go bigger with some of our locations, and we're definitely going to be able to do that again for season 3. We just can't give too much away at this point.
Let me ask you this question, and I understand if you can't answer it, but creativity-wise, somebody knocks on the door, Mr. Greene, Miss Irby, we want to take you to CBS.
Uh-huh.
Would you guys start from season 1? Because the followers have been following you for a while, have seen the progression of the show. Would you start from where you're at?
Yeah, if you're going to traditional TV, you're going to a 22-minute show. So you would essentially, what you've done up to that point would inform what you do moving forward. And so it certainly would be a wonderful conversation to have. I think one of the things that we did, regardless of, and what a wonderful hypothetical situation, but one of the things we did with developing our characters out over the course of 26 episodes was being able to, regardless of whether we're staying short and digestible, or even if we expanded to 5 minutes, which is 2.5 times as big as most of our episodes, we feel like we know who our characters are, and we feel like they're rooted in sort of relatability, and so we'd be confident having those conversations with bigger or smaller partners.
Hopefully somebody's watching to have that conversation. That'd be great. I think it's a great show. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And if you haven't seen it, you have to go see it. Where can we learn more about you guys?
Millennialparents.com.
I was going to say www.millennialparents.com.
There you go. Any other projects besides Millennial that we should be looking for? Or is that
we always have...
There's always something in the works.
Like the CIA with these two, yeah?
No, well, Natalie just produced a film that was at South by Southwest, and...
great.
And I develop concepts both for digital and for regular television, and so we've always got a lot of irons in the fire.
That's wonderful.
And then we sort of we stay quiet about things that are next in the hopper until they're fully baked.
Right.
Never serve wine before it's time.
Right. That's true.
Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. I really appreciate it. It's a fabulous show. I love it. Thank you very much. We're going to put a 2-minute clip at the end of this show.
Great.
Awesome.
Hope you like that idea. 2-minute clip at the end of the show so you can catch on millennialparents.com. You don't want to miss it. Remember, our motto is simple. Wherever there's psychology involved, whether you're a millennial or not, we're going to be there. See you next time, everyone.
I love it when you call me Big Papa. Throw your hands in the air if you're a true player. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4, check, baby.
Kurt, I think we need to talk about the songs you sing with Tanner.
What's wrong with the songs I sing?
Really?
Make them say, na na na.
Oh, you're never gonna get it. Never gonna get it.
I'm just so fresh and so clean.
Babe, when I was little, my dad used to sing songs to me from his childhood in the 60s. I want to sing songs to my son from my childhood in the 90s.
Most of those songs have explicit lyrics.
Which is why I sing the radio edits.
Rolling down the street, smoking, sipping on gin and juice.
You gotta embrace your inner G-funk.
I got a car full of girls and it's going real swell. Next stop is the East Side Motel.